And I think that Germany shook me in a way saying, hey, your life is not under control. Nothing is under control. And you better be happy in no matter what circumstance you find yourself, because this is life, right? We can plan, we can try to control everything, but there's something that the universe, God always throws in our life that is like, look, wake up and understand that you have to be happy no matter what, and you have to make the best of what you've got and learn.
Welcome to the Persistence You podcast with Lizbeth. That's you as in university, but we're really much more of a community here. Lizbeth Meredith is an author, speaker, and online teacher. Each week, she'll be delivering amazing stories from survivors and strivers, all threaded together with a dose of persistence. We're so glad you're listening.
For sisters and brothers, this is a second effort at interviewing the amazing Wanda Malhotra. And as you remember, probably a season or so ago, she was already a Persistence You guest. So I am absolutely nuts about Wanda. And Wanda is one of the contributors to Unmapped. If you're with me on YouTube, let me show you the copy I just got that has a glossy cover. It is so beautiful. Unmapped Solo Women Travelers on Bold Journeys of Healing, Resilience, and Self-Discovery. I specifically placed Wanda's story last because she does such a great job of wrapping up the sentiments of this book. And one of the reasons I created Unmapped, why it was a thought in my head for so very long, is because I do love conversations about things that people don't talk about, certainly trauma and resilience, adverse childhood experiences, trauma-informed care. Those have all been things that I've worked closely inside of for decades now. Not for as an FOUR, but for decades, for a long time. And that being said, I know that resilience is such an important part of the conversation because all of us have things that happen to us. Life is so up and down, and globally, I would say right now, never more in my lifetime. It is hard to find someone who isn't struggling out there. And yet, we have to create our resilience, and we have to create times that are worth celebrating. In the midst of all the awful things that happen in the world, we literally have to go after those opportunities, create opportunities for other people to heal, create opportunities to give back, create opportunities to have fun. And so this book is, it encapsulates that in these different storytellers' lives. And I love Wanda's interview, but let me introduce you to her by reading you the bio from the book. I may not read it all, but guess what? You can read it yourself. Unmapped is available in paperback and ebook version, both on Amazon, now at Barnes & Noble. It's available internationally. It's available where you live for the most part. And Draft to Digital now has the copy of the paperback and ebook as well, meaning that Kobo and Barnes & Noble and so many other places can have the book, even inside of libraries, should you order it. And just remember, one of the great opportunities of this book is a give back. Half the proceeds benefit the YWCA for people who, like myself, had to rebuild their lives after suffering in a volatile relationship, in an abusive relationship. And so it helps survivors and their families rebuild and works to eliminate racism. So wonderful, wonderful give back. And here we are. So Wanda Malhotra is a seasoned wellness entrepreneur, certified health coach, author of Women in Wellness, and lifestyle journalist with 3 decades of experience in the health and wellness space. I'm going to skip on down. As the founder of Crunchy Mama Box, a global mission-driven platform, Wanda has created a thriving community centered on sustainable living and informed health choices. Through this work, and her insightful articles, she highlights the connection between personal decisions and their global impacts. Her reach is international, and connect with Wanda at www.crunchymamavox.com. I will tell you, this last time she and I recorded together, the audio did not work in my computer. So today I double tested it. And also, I invited Wanda to come with me to the YWCA for last week's event, which went smashingly well. And thank you for those who reached out and asked. It did go very well. A community conversation, because October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So it was a community conversation at the YWCA in Oak Ridge, close to Knoxville, about, frankly, my own experiences and then why it's important to invest in community services such as the YWCA, why it's an investment, not an expense. So that was wonderful. The very next day, I got to give a neat workshop on boundaries. I tried to say, I gave a great workshop. That sounds awful, but it was a wonderful time, a workshop on the importance of boundaries for workers who do deal with people in crisis. Because I learned, maybe the hard way in some ways, that when we unveil things like trauma-informed care to people that work with families in crisis, the misinterpretation sometimes created dangerous outcomes. So just talking about the importance of being healthy ourselves and healing, working in the healing field, maintaining ourselves and letting people grow, propelled by their own fuel and their own efforts. So that was delightful. Wanda came out and she read, because we got to also unveil Unmapped. She read from her chapter, and I just encourage you, by all means, whether you want to buy it through Amazon or you want to get it maybe through Draft to Digital, do consider giving it as a stocking stuffer or a gift to someone you care about who loves stories of solo travel and resilience. These are not all people who suffered from abuse, not at all. Some people had any different kind of experience. Some people just went on a fun trip. Other people find solitude within a trip that's a group trip. And for some, it may be a medical trip or even a work trip. But doing the thing that creates self-confidence and healing and self-discovery, it's so much fun. So please do join that venture and feel free to order early, because in case of postal issues, and we're having them right now with the government shutdown, things are working a little slower. Better to order early than to order late. Anyhow, I hope you're having a fabulous week. I am just shocked at how quickly 2025 sailed through. And the one thing I have not done on my list of goals this year is I went to a workshop on making, this will sound mundane, but sourdough bread. I even got a sourdough bread starter there, and then I killed it. And so I have yet to make successfully sourdough bread on my own. But outside of that, it's been a very productive year. And I'm looking at ways to be less so next year. I'm looking for 2026 to bring me a new chapter and a little more time to just settle and enjoy. What are you thinking about this last quarter in your life, in your year of 2025? Let me know. Find me at lameredith.com or on Facebook, my author page. And I can't wait to introduce you to Wanda. Thanks for being here. Wanda Malhotra, thank you so much for being here again. And I'm so thrilled to see you. Of course, you were a guest in a prior season, but you were already with me last week also at the live event with the YWCA. So thank you. That was so special to have you there and to listen to you read from your story.
That was so special for me too, Lizbeth. I just loved being there with you, being part of your book. And, one of the stories of so many beautiful stories of women sharing how they got so empowered and strong after a solo trip, after an experience that we know it's not just a trip, right? We can't make it into just a small episode of our lives. It's a huge thing that makes us transform in so many ways. And I think that trip did this to me. And I can't wait for my copy of the book to arrive so I can read the other stories as well, because I haven't read them yet.
You are going to love them. And again, it's never the destination because someone could be camping across the street. They could be at a medical appointment. They could be going across the pond to a different country. But it's what happens in that journey that is so amazing and transformative in their lives that is just fun. It is just a delightful read. And I love your story, what Germany taught me about showing up anyway. And I think that is so fabulous because I love being with you, but you are so well put together. That is something that always strikes me for people who are going to be watching on YouTube. I just adore that about you and can't really, it's never been my issue. I'm not good at those things. And I love this story because you talk about a time in which things just did not come together for you at a very important business meeting.
Yeah.
And what you learned was important after all, because it's all there inside you. So can you tell me a little bit about writing this story for Unmapped?
Thank you so much, first of all, for thinking I'm all put together because I am not. I try my best, to make the difficult moments into, obstacles into opportunities. I always tell that to my kids, to my friends. But sometimes, like everyone else, I fall apart and it's, sometimes there's phases of my life that I fall apart more or less. And it's like you said, it's the journey. So it's not because I had one experience that was very powerful for me and transformed my life in a way that was like necessary at the time. My life is still a journey. I'm still learning so much and I'm still making the same mistakes. And I'm in my second divorce. So obviously I made a second mistake, but anyway, I don't want to say just mistake because of course there's always good moments and bad moments. But there's certain patterns in our life that we repeat, and I think this journey that we call life is where we need to learn why we're repeating certain mistakes or certain behaviors or, comfort zones that we look for in our life. And I think that Germany shook me in a way saying, "Hey, your life is not under control. Nothing is under control, and you better be happy in no matter what circumstance you find yourself because this is life, right? We can plan, we can try to control everything, but there's something that the universe, God always throws in our life that is like, look, wake up and understand that you have to be happy no matter what, and you have to make the best of what you've got and learn. Every experience in life comes for us to learn something. And Germany taught me, I mean, I was younger at the time and I was, I had these beliefs that I grew up with culturally also from Brazil. Like you have to have, your outfit, you have to have the dress code, you have to look a certain way, you have to have this appearance. And when I got there and my suitcase, I can tell little bits of the story, right?
Oh, yes. As much as
Okay.
you like.
So when my suitcase was gone for the entire trip, I was like, okay, and I couldn't, it's not like, everyone's like, just go across the street, buy an outfit, go shopping. Like I was literally in a hotel in the middle of the shops. All the stores were there. Beautiful stores. I could buy anything at any price. But my meetings started when the stores opened, and my meetings ended when the stores closed. So
Was it
how would I buy
business?
anything? It
Right.
was this. So I had to go to the trade show, to the evenings, the dinners with my clients, dressed with the same outfit that I had traveling, which I always like to travel comfortable. So it's my old sweatpants and leggings. It's a sweater. It's something that is going to make me comfortable and I don't need to look good for that. So I had to really show, like content here and not just, a nice little outfit or something because my clients there, they had to hear about the values of the company, about the quality of the product, and about, how serious our business was. And I was at the time the face of the business and I had to show up the way I could with my same clothes every single day of the show.
I mean, I just think about that because of all countries, Germany you're going to a very important business meeting that you're the front facing person in your business, you represent, and you're alongside a lot of people who are very bummed up, and you just have to be okay with that and to take humor in it, which I love that you did. Eventually,
Yeah.
okay, so this is how it's going to be.
And then
Moving
in the
forward.
middle of a divorce that I was
Right.
going through. So you would think, when you're going through divorce, a lot of times it affects your self-esteem, it affects your confidence. And I had to fight that. I was like, I can't lose any self-esteem or confidence right now. Right now, I need to be the best version of myself because I need to bring results. My business depended on me and my children depended on my business. So I just couldn't let it down. I couldn't let anything go wrong right there. And although it was going a little bit wrong,
And that's okay. I think the main thing is you moved forward, you kept making those good connections, and you were very comfortable with who you are.
right. And when you're going through a tough time, sometimes you think, you know, like there's a tendency that we have as people suffering with other people that, to generalize and say everyone's bad, men are bad, people are bad. But then you encounter a situation where people are helping you, they're being kind, they're listening to you, they are being so generous with their time, and you're like, you know what, not everyone is bad, you know?
Right.
And even the bad are not bad. They're just not, not really sticking to the right values at that time because I believe that people can learn and they can change if they want to.
Sure.
So all of that, it was so much information for me that trip. And it was so eye-opening. I was like, I needed that trip to come back and know that I can trust myself. I can trust the process. I can trust my journey and I can trust my decisions because when you're going through divorce and you have small children, you're questioning yourself. You're like, should I be doing this? Should I just tolerate everything that's going bad in this marriage and for the kids or for society or for family. But then when things like that happen that are not even related to the divorce, but they strengthen you, they show you that yes, you can move forward with your decision because that's something that is going to empower you and your children. And you don't have to do what society tells you to do or what you think you were brought up to think is right. You have to do what really is healthy for you. And that's, I think, what I learned also in this trip is that, yes, people are good. Some angels come disguised as, a lady with groceries at the train station. And it's okay if you only have one outfit to wear for a whole 4 days. It's okay if, things go wrong. And at the end of the day, you feel happy, even though everything was a disaster. You can sit down, enjoy your meal, be grateful for the meal that you have in front of you, and breathe, right? Breathe because once you have a good night's sleep the next day, it's a different day. And opportunities show up. Things happen that some people say are miracles, but I think it's just your outlook on life. Because the more negative, the more you sink into life, the more it will sink. It's, the more you will, things just won't happen for you. But when you look at the positive attracts the positive, and the gratitude attracts more positive, and just your path opens up. And I think that's what I need. I know it's a trip, it's a story, but it's a true story. It happened to me. Every single detail that I wrote there was true fact. And it transformed my life. And I still go back to that moment and remember when I'm going through a hard moment now that I don't have to have it all figured out. I don't have to have it all under control. Actually, it's even better when you say, what I can't control, I will let go and not worry about it, because worrying is going to cause me health problems and a lot of wrinkles, and I don't want that.
I like that so much. And I love too that when we're away from our own surroundings and we're forced to ask for help, and it's hard for me, and I've had to do it repeatedly in my life, and I know it's probably hard for you too. We have to ask people that we don't even know for help. It really is an opportunity to be reminded that there are great people all over the globe. And that is something that if we just allowed the news channels to define how we felt about our world and, who votes how and where people live and obscure borders that, someone drew at some point, it would be a different outcome. But when you really get out there and you are vulnerable and you ask someone for help, you are very likely to find a delightful connection for life. And so I think that's fantastic. I think it almost trains us to then really look for the good inside anything, not just for on good days, but look for what is good, what we can be grateful for in hard times. That
It's
is a
so
discipline. And I think that sometimes those trips and things going awry, as they do, really help us. So I loved your story. I loved your journey and especially adored your reading. And so thank you for sharing from your heart. So tell me, how did that help transform Crunchy Mama, your wonderful business?
well, that is, I think that trade show and experiencing other trade shows all over the world that are, into the natural, organic, and being at the time, it was a small business that I had with my mother, and we were very small, and I know all the struggles we had. So Crunchy Mama Box is a dream that I had. It's a platform that I wanted to create to help educate not just consumers on what is natural, what is healthy, sustainable, but also brand founders, mission-driven brand founders that are struggling like we struggled when we were a small business trying to make it in a world full of huge corporations and investors and well-funded businesses. And our we were well-funded. We had to be extra creative, extra professional, and have an excellent quality product to even be in these trade shows. So today I love helping these founders with their products, with getting into the market, distribution, finding sustainable packaging, ethical ingredients. So Crunchy Mama Box really is a wellness platform and a business hub to help consumers find the products that are truly natural. And through our certification program, the CMB certified, we certify the brands that are bringing the truly natural products, organic, sustainable. And more important of all is the social impact. That's the most important for me. And I wanted to have brands that, one of the values of the certification is to have brands that give back in some capacity, whether it's through donations or volunteering, because not every company, small business, most of our businesses are women owned, they're small businesses. They can't, donate significant amounts, but they can volunteer and they educate the consumer as well. So education, social impact, clean ingredients, and sustainability are our values, our criteria to get CMB certified to be part of the wellness platform. And then, of course, we have, the education for everyone, for brands and for consumers, which is the content, the articles that we have, the interviews with wellness leaders and amazing writers like you that have done so much for the world, like right now with your book, Unmapped, donating to YWCA, an organization that I love. I mean, when you said you were supporting them, I said, I love you, Lizbeth. I'm gonna admit, I love you more now. It was, this is what I think we need to do in the world. We need to, like serve as much as we can. And if you don't have a purposeful business, it's really hard to to maintain to maintain it in a way that is sustainable. To tell you the truth, it's like without a mission, without a purpose today, it's an empty business, right? You can make money, you can have profit, but at the end of the day, are you really fulfilled? Are you really happy? Who are you helping? The planet, someone else, or just your pockets? So most of business owners that I've been talking to that I encountered are, you know, they're family-owned businesses, so they're supporting their children, their family, they're helping the planet, they're helping communities. So that is a force for good, right? And what I really wanted to create when back then when I was, when I had my business, I said, one day I'm going to create a platform and I'm going to help all these other businesses that are going through what I am going right now because it's not easy. So that's what Crunchy Mama Box is all about. And then we even have recipes on the website because I love to cook and I put a whole bunch of healthy recipes in there.
I love that. And it's so beautiful. Now tell viewers, I mentioned it at the beginning at your intro, but tell us where people can connect with your business, your platform, and maybe even order your book.
Oh, yes, my Women in Wellness book, which is also an anthology like the Unmapped. And that's on Amazon and also on our website, crunchyMamaBox.com. If you go to our website, you will find everything. You will find the curated products that are certified. You will find all the content, trending news in wellness, interviews, recipes. You can join us in our giving back chain. We created the giving back chain where everybody, unites, the brands unite, the consumers unite, so we can give back together. And you can contact us on social media, Crunchy Mama Box. That's how you find us.
Such a great title. I love that. And Wanda, thank you so much for being such a giver and a light. And I just adored your contributions.
We hope you've enjoyed this week's show. Thank you so much for listening. Now, to find out more, head on over to lameredith.com and be sure to hop on the mailing list too. If you've enjoyed this show, please leave a rating and review or share with a friend. And if you really, really liked it, go ahead and subscribe so that you never miss another episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode of Persistence U with Lizbeth.